Well, it worked the first time. Might as well try it again. Welcome everybody to JG&I News. We talk all things NFL all the time. I'm Jared Gary and I representing the 904 from the 602. And today we are talking about the rumor that has come out earlier today about the Jacksonville Jaguars playing back-to-back games in London during the 2024 season, much like they did back in 2023. If you remember, during the 2023 season, they played a game against the Atlanta Falcons in London as the home team. They won that game. That was also the Toy Story alternate broadcast. I did a video on how bad of a broadcast that was. Go check that out if you haven't already. That game, a win for Jacksonville, played very well in the fourth quarter. Calvin Ridley had a pretty good showing against his former team. Then they stayed in London, becoming the first team to ever play back-to-back games in London, although this time they played as the road team, taking on the Buffalo Bills. And once again, the Jaguars won that game. They completely shut down Buffalo's offense for most of the contest. Then again, Buffalo just decided not to run the ball. I'm not sure what that was about. But either way, they played back-to-back games in London, won both of them. It was a success, especially because they went back home immediately after the Buffalo game, didn't take a bye week, played the Colts, and blew them out in Jacksonville. Then again, they've blown out the Colts and won in Jacksonville pretty much every single time. The last time they lost in Jacksonville to the Colts was 2014, a decade ago. But because of the success of that, the back-to-back games in London that were both wins and the trip back home with no real effects whatsoever, the Jags are reportedly going to do it again and play back-to-back games in London for the 2024 season. This leak comes from Aussie NFL, who is accurate on over 77% of his schedule leaks last year. So here's how it's rumored to work. The NFL has the Minnesota Vikings play a game at home on October 6th. Now, the Jaguars would not be playing in that game because the Jaguars play the Vikings this year in Jacksonville, so it couldn't possibly be that. Now, October 13th, the Bears play a home game in London. Remember, the NFC minus the Jaguars game. The NFC always has the 9th home game this year, so any international game minus Jacksonville is guaranteed to be an NFC home game just because of the way the schedule works, because they have one extra home game on the schedule as it is. So the rumor is that the Jaguars will play the Bears on October 13th in London as the road team. Bears is the home team. And then after that, they would play a game on October 20th, this time the Jaguars being the home team for that game. So much like last year, they play one game as the home team, one game as the road team, and they just stay in London for the week. Now, this is where it gets a bit interesting in terms of how this impacts the rest of the Jaguars' schedule. Because ideally, you would think, okay, you know what? The NFL automatically gives you a bye week after London if you want it. You figure, okay, you play a game on October 13th, play a game on October 20th, you get the bye week on October 27th. That's pretty much in the middle of the season. It's a great time to have a bye week. The problem is that with the Jaguars, taking a bye week right after that could be extremely detrimental because obviously if you have a bye week, you're not playing that week, and that means no home game on October 27th. Now, you can't host a game on November 3rd, the week after that, because Florida, Georgia is occupying the stadium on November 2nd. And the Florida-Georgia game, obviously monumental game, one of the biggest rivalries in college football, maybe the best neutral site rivalry in college football. I love that rivalry for obvious reasons as a Gator fan. But because of that, you can't have a Jaguars game on November 3rd. It's not possible. The Jaguars have never played a game at home the day after Florida-Georgia. So that means you're not playing in Jacksonville on October 13th. You're not playing in Jacksonville on October 20th. You take the bye week, you're not playing in Jacksonville on October 27th. Florida, Georgia, you're not playing at home on November 3rd. That means that the earliest possible home game after London in Jacksonville would be November 10th. And if we assume that the Jaguars play a game at home before they travel to London, like a lot of teams do, that means you have a home game on October 6th, and the next home game would be on November 10th at the earliest. Do you really want to go over a full month without playing in Jacksonville? Would the players want that? Would Doug Peterson want that? Would Shad Khan want that? I honestly don't know. Going over a full month without play could be absolutely detrimental, and it could throw the Jaguars off their rhythm. Then again, they did pretty well last year in terms of the schedule when they played back-to-back games in London, and then played without a bye week, going back home to Jacksonville, and then they traveled to New Orleans on a short week. They did all that in the span of about 17 days, and they did totally fine. So maybe not, but I'm not sure the Jacksonville fans would be too happy going a full month without seeing their team play at home. Now, the thing is that you automatically get a bye week after London if you want it. But if you don't want the bye week after London immediately, it's left completely up to chance. It's left completely up to the random generator with the schedule. To my knowledge, though, a team has never had a bye week before a European game. So you don't have to worry about the Jaguars having a bye week on October 6th. That'll be very, very early on. I don't think anyone wants that. So in all likelihood, even if they don't take the bye week right after London, and again, I'm not sure you would because it would mean playing over a month without a game in Jacksonville. Even if that is not the case, you could just play a home game on October 27th, not take the bye week, and then you get the bye week sometime in November, which might be better for Jacksonville as it is, seeing as what happened over the second half of the season, where they completely collapsed down the stretch and probably needed a bye week to get things sorted out. And you can see here all the times the Jaguars have played in London since 2013 when the agreement was first signed. They played there every year since then, besides 2020 due to COVID. There were no international games that year. Just from a logistics standpoint, it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to do it that year. But you can see when they take the bye week and when they don't. The last 2 years under Doug Peterson, he doesn't like taking the bye week right after London. And that's true even if the London game takes place in the middle of the season. I get why he didn't take the bye week last year in 2023 because London was weeks 4 and 5. Do you want to take a bye week in week 6 in an 18-week season? Maybe not. But 2022, the London game against the Denver Broncos, which was a loss, took place in week 8. And Doug Peterson did not take the bye smack dab in the middle of the season in week 9. He decided to have the team play, and they actually beat the Las Vegas Raiders in week 9. They took the bye week in week 11. 3 times the Jaguars have played in London and did not take the bye week right after. They're 2-1 in those games when they don't take the bye week right after. So odds are, even if the Jaguars have that game on October 20th, they might not take the bye week if Doug Peterson's history is anything to go off of, if what he likes to do is anything to go off of, and if the fact that the Jaguars wouldn't play any games in Jacksonville for over a month if you do take the bye week is anything to go off of. So that is the rumor, according to Aussie NFL, that the Jaguars play the Bears on October 13th in London. And I did say when the NFL London opponents were announced, I did predict that Jaguars-Bears would be a game on October 13th, and the Jaguars would be playing a home game there on October 20th. I did say that. I predicted that. This would not shock me in the slightest bit. It's right about what I thought. Go check that video out if you have not already. And then after the back-to-back games, you have the question of, do you take the bye week? The Jags did not take the bye week last year. They have not taken the bye week quite a few times to varying success. They didn't take the bye week after 2017, and they lost to the Jets. But again, they didn't take the bye week this past season, and they won to the Colts. So taking the bye week or not taking the bye week might not make that much of a difference. We will see what happens. The schedule usually comes out sometime around the second week of May. It usually comes out after the NFL draft, so we'll have to wait and see. But again, this is a rumor that seems to line up pretty well with what I and many people saw coming, especially after what happened last year when the Jags played back-to-back games in London. But what are your thoughts? Do you like the idea of the Jaguars playing back-to-back games in London? Who do you think they're going to play in London besides the Bears on October 13th? When do you want the Jaguars to take a bye week? When do most NFL teams want to take a bye week? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And that's going to do it for this episode of JJ9 News. Be sure you like and subscribe. It helps the channel out a lot. And be sure to check out my main channel, Jaguar9, where we talk all things NFL history all the time. Until next time, this is Jaguar9 signing off. And as always, go Jags.